I find myself thinking a lot about this subject as I get older, and I'm not an old man, or whatever else. I will be 30 in about a year and a half, but and that alone just blows my mind. I can't even comprehend that in a year and a half I'll be the same age that my dad was when he had me, and that just doesn't even feel real to me, honestly. It really doesn't. But as I've gotten older, I've thought about this more and more, and what I'm thinking of is death, is, that one day I will die, even if I were to do cryogenics or upload my brain into a computer or whatever means. Even through cryogenics, you would eventually die, and if you upload your brain into a computer, then you as a being will cease to exist, even if you as a consciousness is copied and exists on the earth, but it's not your consciousness. You get what I'm saying? Anyways, getting to the point, as some of you may know, I'm agnostic. I don't know if there is a God or an omnipotent being or some form of afterlife out there, obviously, and there's no way that I could know because science, hasn't gotten to that point now. Granted, going by the classical laws of science, things like heaven and hell shouldn't be possible, because if all matter and energy in the universe needs to stay the same to have those laws be accurate, then a buildup of souls through the billions and trillions of people that have died over the millennia would violate that law of matter. But obviously we could be completely wrong on that, and something like that completely exists. Now, another viewpoint, of course, is that the afterlife is a human construct, and that we as beings conscious of our own self-awareness and having an ego and having, a actual personality, having something that we are, we exist. We know that we exist. We know that we're human beings. We create afterlife in the many religions that have existed because we believe that we alone on this planet, as this species of human, are special. That we are the dominant creature on this planet, and so therefore we deserve the right to not have all of our life experiences and not have all of our existence and our consciousness and everything else wiped away completely clean, and so forth. And we believe, well, we've went through this long life, we went through all these things, how could we possibly just have that all wiped away, how could we just lose all that? And so that is why we've created, in large part, I believe, religion and the afterlife and so forth, why we have made those things. But that's not even the real point here. The real point is that for me, as a person that does not believe in afterlife or whatever else, or at least I'm not really counting on one, that that's it for me, When I die, whether it's through disease of my heart problem or some other disease that may come out there or whatever else, or whether it's just of old age, or whether it's some sort of accident like, I don't know, gas leak blows up or something like that, whatever, I don't know. For me, that is it. That is the end of my existence, and it's honestly very, very frustrating because there's no way to get around that, Like, there's a train or something going up here, so we're just stopped. I don't know what the hell. Perfect timing, I guess. Let's say I were to do cryogenics or something like that, right? And I freeze myself, and 1,000 years later, Futurama, I get unfrozen, Well, even then, I'm still gonna die, The only way to combat that would be to, clone bodies and to upload my brain or put my brain into each one, And that gets, but eventually, you would die from something. And you can upload your brain to a computer, eventually and stuff like that. And many decades from now, that might be possible. But even then, your consciousness would cease to exist, even if you still existed in the computer. And I guess the whole point I'm getting to with this is it's just, when I was a teenager, I used to say that the idea of death never really freaked me out. And that's because I had lived with the idea of death most of my life. Really, all of my life, ever since I could really consciously remember, of course, because, of my heart problem. That I knew that right around the corner, there was a total possibility that I could just go to bed and not wake up the next day. That I've lived with that my whole life. And I'm not saying that as some sort of, tragic thing, you know, like, oh God, I've been through it, you know, whatever else, but more just that you get accustomed to that idea. But as I get older, I find myself really thinking about what that really means. It's not like when a book has ended and you close the book and those characters, you know, are done, so to speak. You won't learn any more about them. Their lives are effectively over. But you, of course, as a human being, still continue to exist. And it's not like a movie where the characters are done, or a TV series where the characters are done, or something else like that, you know. It's done. It's completely over, and there's no... You don't get to read the book of what happens to your loved ones and your friends and your family and your coworkers and stuff like that after you're dead, you know, for me at least. You don't get to go up and watch how life goes on. It's just done. And I can't imagine what that could be like, you know. It's like when you sleep, obviously, you don't have a consciousness then, but you still realize that when you go to sleep, you will wake up the next day, or at least you have faith that you will wake up the next day. And I know that if I die of old age, I've still got my lifespan I've already lived ×2 with the way that health and medicine is going nowadays, you know. I know I've still got a long life ahead of me. And of course, as I get older, and I accomplish more things in life, and I live out more things in my life, you know, I might be like, hey, you know, well, I've lived a long and full life. I am ready to die because I feel I have achieved my potential. And there's a piece of paper I wrote. There's something I wrote on a piece of paper back when I was about, I don't know, I think 12 or something like that. And my mom actually framed this in her room. I know. But, I mean, I love my mom, but, you know, I'm just saying it's embarrassing. But it basically said along the lines of, the purpose of a single human being is to fulfill your potential, whatever that may be. And as long as you've done that, then you have lived out your life. You have done what a human being is supposed to do. And for some people that may be, you know, Einstein, theory of general relativity. For other people, the most important thing in their life, as sad as it is, may be, you know, working at a donut store and they give some poor guy a 50% discount on a donut because his girlfriend broke up with him. And that may be the most meaningful thing they've done in their entire existence and will do. But that said, they did it, you know, they did it. And so when it gets to that point in my life, I may very well feel that it is okay for me to not exist anymore. And, you know, it's just weird to really think about that. To really think, I don't think like an egotistical manner, like, damn, after I die, you know, how is the world going to exist without me? But more honestly, I think what it boils down to, for those of you who have sat here and watched this long as fuck video, that it's so enjoyable to be alive. Even if I were a paraplegic in a wheelchair, and I couldn't do anything but breathe into a tube to move myself around, I would still be happy, because you're still alive, you know? And for somebody like me, with this belief of agnosticism and so forth, you know, that's it. Once you die, that's it. So as long as you're alive, even if you're in a wheelchair, even if you're deaf, if you're blind, if you're paraplegic, if you can't get a hard-on, whatever else, as long as you're alive, that is what matters. Because you can still do things while you're alive. You could still write a book. You could still, you know, talk to a family member or a friend. You could, you know, talk to them about fun stuff. You could talk to them about when things were better, when you did that crazy thing when you were younger, or whatever else, you know. You could reminisce on nostalgic times, you know, whatever. Something that makes life better. And once you're dead, then that's it. There really is nothing else, for me at least. And so, it's just frustrating to know that one day, this experience of living, of being able to go out and breathe the air, and eat food, and look at other human beings and interact with them and see, how the world exists and see how it evolves and see how things change and the sounds of life around you and even the sounds of silence and whatever else, to know that I will never be able to access those things again. Even things like, it's something I do, as silly as this may sound, something I do when I really want to get myself amped up for working on stuff and whatever else, is I remind myself of my own mortality by reminding myself that I can feel physical sensation. And I'll usually do this by either slapping the ever-living hell out of myself or clapping my hands together over and over as hard as I can until I've burst some of the capillaries in my hands. And that's not because I'm into the pain or whatever else or something like that. It's because it reminds me that I'm still alive and I'm feeling a sensation that once I'm dead I will no longer be able to feel. And as long as I can feel this, then I can still do something with my life. And I can still create new things and entertain people and enjoy life, basically. And so even feeling pain, even suffering, is still better than death to me because it's still a part of life. Part of life is suffering, and part of life is feeling pain, and part of it is feeling sensations in general, to know that you're still alive. It reminds you you're still alive. Instead of just going on with an existence where you basically do the same moves and the same motions and the same things over and over and over, you start to forget that you're actually alive and that you are living with a biological clock that is ticking down. And if you experience happiness or pain or sadness or frustration or whatever else, it reminds you that you are in fact still alive. And that you need to break out of that monotony of doing the same things over and over and over because you've only got so long left to live. And when you're at the end of your life, you're not going to be able to go back and rewrite the book. You're not going to be able to go and just open up another book, another episode of your life to watch. That's it. So you need to remind yourself of that from time to time, as frequently as possible, really. And because everybody gets stuck in a rut like that, but it's just frustrating to know that one day I will die, and none of this will be able to ever be experienced again. And that really sucks. But the problem with thinking about that is what am I doing right now? I'm thinking about what death is going to be like when I could be living the short life that I have, which is what I'm going to go do, and what I suggest you all go do after you're done watching this video. Because no matter what your religion is, do you really want to risk it? That this is pretty much the only chance that you got? So fuck out there and do something. Damn.